Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Saint Podcast here on the Caviar Podcast Network. I'm Tiny, your host. With me, as always, Adam Levy. Adam, how are you today?
I am doing great, Mike. How you doing?
I can't complain. The weather today was beautiful here in the South. It wasn't scorchingly hot and humid, so it was kind of nice.
It's been scorchingly hot out here lately.
Yeah, I've heard.
Like yesterday wasn't too bad. It was warm, but cooled off nicely in the evening, which was fine because I was like outdoor concert, so that was pleasant. I mean, Friday it was about 113 out here during the day, and it was still like 95 at midnight. So that was pretty ridiculous.
It was 95, 97 here last week, but the humidity was about 90%. So
that's a big difference between here and there.
It's a big thing, that humidity. It's tough to deal with.
Yeah, I remember that from that brief time I spent out there.
I'm a fat man who sweats, let me tell you what. It's rough out here.
I bet.
Well, we're going to get into Gonna Hurt tonight. This is the third episode of season 3. And I think finally we have a spine for this season. And I think I know what everybody's going to do now this season. So this episode wasn't as bad as last week's.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to get, some story progression. Last week was pretty slow. This week they're starting to set some stuff up, which is interesting. So I'm curious to see where it's all going to go.
Yeah, there's a few things that we'll get into a little bit later that were mystifying a little bit. This episode starts with Tulip going to the Grail office and finding it empty.
Yeah. Did she expect us to see them there? I love the fact that this clandestine organization has business cards. Even
I did too, and it does say secret organization on their business card, which I kind of dig that. I feel that we have a very secret podcast, but it turns out that we have 52 subscribers now.
Ooh, awesome!
Yeah, I was unaware that we had 52 people subscribed to this channel. So thanks.
That's fantastic.
Tell your friends. We're trying to get better. We're trying to get an RSS feed so you can download this and enjoy us in your car. I don't know that you'd want to, but if you're stuck in LA traffic and it's 118, why not listen to us? Why not?
Yeah, there's worse things you could do.
Yeah, you could listen to Nicki Minaj.
Ooh.
There are worse things. You could be stuck listening to Bieber 24/7.
Ouch! That I'd just kill myself at that point.
What's worse, Bieber or Timberlake?
Bieber.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not a fan of Timberlake, but I could probably listen to more of his stuff than I could have Bieber's.
I've seen Timberlake. We went and saw him, and he was at a festival. But in either way, I was like, all right, Justin's got to put on a pretty good show, right? A lot of singing and dancing. Fuck that, man! This guy put on the most boring show.
Really?
I was so bored. Like, I get it. You're saving, all the good stuff for the end, but man, drop an NSYNC song somewhere. Just give me something. Yeah, it was really boring. He brought out Chris Stapleton as his guest. Like, what the fuck? That's the strangest combination. Not the strangest. I saw Fish and Kenny Rogers. That might be the strangest combination ever.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That was Fish doing The Gambler with Kenny Rogers on stage at Bonnaroo. Yeah, it was awesome. It was super awesome.
Oh, wow. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it was the coolest part about Bonnaroo was that you'd see things like that. But now you don't see a lot of that. It's not my festival anymore. Yeah, it's horrible.
That sucks, yeah.
You have something open that's weird?
The only thing I've got open is this and the chat room. That's it.
Wow, I was just feeding back for a minute. Anyway, let's move on to the episode. So, so she goes there and their office is totally empty, like, duh. Like, because they're just hanging out there waiting for her to show up.
Yeah, they moved out in a hurry. There's just some some crap left on the floor. The picture of Jesus hanging askew on the wall, and a box of business cards that they don't apparently need anymore.
Right, because you're bugged out. I like that she pistol whips the guy in the front of the house, and then she's like, "Where are they?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just mopped the floor."
Yeah, I mean, Tulip is the kind of person that has no problem pistol whipping somebody. Obviously, we've seen that from the first episode.
Right, that's her thing. She can do that, so we're cool with that.
Yeah, Tulip's not opposed to a little bit of violence here and there.
No. And then she on her drive back to Angelville, she has a run-in with the dog god, and his motorcycle Harley chick. She's on my screen right now, paused, and yeah. So God apparently looks like the fake god by design.
Yeah.
And oh man, my screensaver. I hate this TV so much. I gotta turn the screensaver on. Anyways, yeah, so that's what happened. So God and her getting a little argument in the middle of the driveway.
Yeah, so I mean, God seems to be showing up quite a bit lately. I mean, in the books, he didn't really show up very often unless it was like a really big thing. But he's come to her twice now in a couple days about, get them sons of bitches. You're chosen for a reason. And then he. Oh,
I'm sorry. I was talking to Kristen when we were watching this, and she's like, I don't understand what's going on with all this, the God and the dog and all that. And I said, well, what you have to understand is that God's afraid of Jesse. He's afraid of the power inside Jesse. And right now, Jesse don't have his soul, so he can't use that power. I don't recall in the comic book his soul being a part of that.
No. The soul had nothing to do with it. There was never anything about souls in the comic book. So this is a whole new idea for the show itself.
TV tangent.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess they've kind of got to get I kind of understand taking away his power because it was kind of a crutch for him for the first couple seasons. It was the one way that the Saint could track him, so they've taken that away, which I guess is a good thing for him. But I guess it also gives him a storyline to Jesse's got to get his powers back. In the books, the only time he never really lost his powers, but his powers were kind of nullified at one point by God. So, I mean, as much as God feared the power of Genesis, God could actually protect some people from this power. But I mean, yeah, and the show's never really gone into the idea that God fears the power of Genesis. I mean, I think the angels might have kind of mentioned it, but it was never really a driving force as to why God left heaven.
Right. We need Fiora and LeBlanc back so bad.
Oh, God. Well, we can get one of them at least, but the other one's gone.
What I was going to bring up was that with this being a different kind of thing from the comic book, we don't necessarily know where they're going with it. So a lot of these things that we're going to see this season, I think, based on episode titles and whatnot, are things that are from the comic book, but are not related to Jesse trying to find his soul. So that's put us in a different spin on this season because obviously we're not leaving New Orleans. So
at least not for the next season, not for this season.
Right. And we can only hope there's another season. We don't, nothing's set in stone here.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, the idea of what the show is about is very different from the comic books. I mean, the idea is the same as Jesse's looking for God, but it seems like the ideas, the motivations, why the characters are doing what they're doing are different from what we've read in the books.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because God doesn't see it. It doesn't seem like God fled heaven because of Genesis. It seems like God's on vacation. I mean,
right. Yeah.
You see, we got God riding a Harley with some trashy girl ride on the back. What's that about? And why is he constantly dressed like a dog? I don't quite get that, but
I don't understand the dog thing. And they're going for their own little unique take, and that's cool. God, I had such a great point. I keep trying to make, and I keep forgetting what it is. Um. So God. All right. Well, God's talking to Tulip here on the side of the road, and she's like, "Wait, this is bullshit." Like, oh, I get where I'm going. What with Jesse trying to get his soul back to get his power back, it gives
Mhm.
us something this season to build up our anticipation because we want him to get his that voice back because
Oh
we
yeah.
want Jody, TC, and Miss Marie to pay big time. So
Yeah.
when he eventually does get it back and he gets to use it on them, we're gonna feel so much better that he didn't have it, this whole time.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna be satisfied. You know, we're gonna get satisfied with Jesse finally getting his. We're gonna see Jesse. I'm assuming we're gonna see Jesse get his revenge on the family by the end of the season.
I would
You know,
hope so.
I don't necessarily see a reason to keep the family around for another season if we go that far, unless they just really really have nothing else to do. But I don't see the family. I don't see Jody, TC, and Grandma making it out of this season.
Right, and that apparently that's been what they're doing is each season they're tackling a different thing.
Yeah.
In the first season we attacked Anvil and Sheriff Fruit and Quinn Cannon, and then in season two, we had Featherstone and Hoover and all that weird
And
shit
the introduction of the Grail and all that. Yeah.
and the Corral was all going on. We did get the All Father and Humperdew, so they're bringing the comic book stuff in, but they're not fully riding with it.
Yeah, I mean they're bringing the ideas in, but they're setting them up differently. They're playing them out differently. You know, so they're putting the pieces that we kind of know onto the board, but they're setting the game up really differently.
If they get one more season, can they end it in one more season?
Possibly. I mean,
they kind of have to.
Yeah, I mean, there's not all of the storylines from the comic book need to be represented on the show. I mean, I don't know if we're going to need to see I don't think we need to see Salvation unless they want to bring us, Jesse's mom. But I mean, we're getting, they're kind of setting up, the rift between Jesse and Cassidy that we've seen in the books.
Right.
They're bringing that in early. That was a late game storyline. But I mean, it's not as bad as it well. We haven't seen enough of it yet to know if it's going to be as bad as it was in the books. But there is going to be that rift between these two characters. Tulip is going to be in the middle of this whole thing. We started to see that in the first episode. We're seeing more of that even now in this episode, and that's going to play out pretty heavily throughout this season. So I mean, there is a lot of stuff, but
the Tulip and God conversation kind of devolves into her calling him out and saying, "You're just down there on vacation, dude." And
yeah.
he's like, don't bullshit me. Fuck off. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm a loving God, but don't push it."
Yeah, don't push it, but sure, she's gonna push it.
Of course she is.
That's what she does. And
well, and the conversation kind of goes like, she's like, "Well, I messed up." And he's like, "I know that was by design too." He's like, "What was it your father said? The O'Hare curse." And he's like, yeah. He's like, exactly. So she's like, "Wait, basically you gave me this task knowing that I'd mess up." And he's like, "Yeah."
Hey, that's a workable strategy.
Yeah,
you're gonna fuck it up. Just fuck it up, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, roll with it.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't know that a Dalmatian driving her Harley wouldn't. I mean, of course, it would attract the eye.
Well, in New Orleans, maybe not.
Maybe, all right, a little bit less in New Orleans than anywhere else. That's true.
Yeah,
but a same could be said. If he was rolling down Santa Monica Boulevard, you wouldn't think twice about it. You'd be like,
probably not. No.
What a weirdo. And that would be it. That would be the last you thought about it that day, unless you're like, "Hey, Steve, guess what? I saw like a Dalmatian on a motorcycle."
I'd probably be thinking, I'm like, shit, guy in a Dalmatian suit riding a motorcycle has got a girl, and I don't. What the fuck?
He's God.
Well, I would have known that.
Sorry, man. What can I do for you? I can try to help. I got girls out here for you. They're ready for you.
Oh, I gotta get out there.
The humidity will kill you, though. I'm telling you.
Let's sweat off a few pounds. Probably be okay.
You'd think, but fried food, man.
Yeah, that'll get you.
I look like a Hodor more and more each day.
Well, there's your cosplay idea.
Yeah, I mean, look, the cosplay of Hodor has not gone past me. Like, I could totally pull that off in, like, I don't know, one outfit.
Yeah, just get a gray robe and you're set.
I just want to do Hellboy. But I sweat too much to do Hellboy, so I can't do all that red makeup, man. I die. That's the problem. But God's bike is pretty cool. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it looks like straight out of Sons of Anarchy, man.
It's not too shabby, but his ponytail needs some work. It's like Christopher Lloyd in a Dalmatian outfit.
I want to see Christopher Lloyd in a Dalmatian outfit now.
Now I kind of want to recast Christopher Lloyd in this role. Absolutely. I'm God.
Marty, we got to get back to...
We got to get back to heaven.
There you go. That's your next movie idea, Back to Heaven.
There you go. That might be where this is rolled to. If a DeLorean shows up, we know we're on to something. It wouldn't be the first thing that I've called that just went totally off the rails.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm almost done with this. Hold on. This scene was way longer than I thought.
Yeah, it did kind of go on a bit.
In the road talking to God. How long is it? It was 6 minutes before the credits.
Yeah, but this was the scene right up leading into the credits. So yeah, but
yeah, it was leading into the credits, and we've now, I think, seen most of the credit scenes. We still haven't seen Ian Coletti's yet. We still haven't seen Hitler yet. No. But everybody else, I think, we've seen their scene.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So back to Angel. I want a goat cannon. By the way, we didn't talk enough about the goat cannon last week. Yeah, we had some technical issues and we lost that, but I just wanted to mention the goat cannon was one of my favorite things in the world. And,
with the Oids and their goat cannon.
Yeah, the goat yoga is a thing out here, and I really want a goat cannon, so that could be fun.
Goat yoga?
Yeah, it's yoga with goats walking on you. It's people are weird, man. What do you want?
Seriously, what the fuck, people?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. So from Tulip, it goes to TC taking care of Cassidy's bullet wound. And pretty funny scene where he's huffing everything he gets. He's like, ooh, hemlock. I like that.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to guess what's in there. And he's like, he's this? No, is it this? He's like,
no.
Hemlock? He's like,
oh, all right. Yeah.
Cassidy knows his drugs, man.
Cassidy is, he's aficionado.
Yeah.
A drugosaur, as it were. I like that TC, not the sharpest bone in the body, but he puts together that, man, he's a really fast healer, this guy.
Well, yeah, Cassidy talks about the fact that he was damn near cut in half at one point, and TC can't find a single scar.
No scars.
You know, he's been shot and stabbed and cut, and so many times that there should be marks on the body. You know,
he said he's very limber and he does Pilates. So
yeah. Last time I checked, though, being limber doesn't heal scars, but I might be wrong. I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor either, but a Pilates can probably fix a lot of stuff. I don't know. I've never done a Pilates. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's named after somebody or what. I don't know.
I don't know. It's some kind of exercise. That's all I know.
Yeah, whatever. I don't exercise. Yeah, so he TC pulls the bullet out of him pretty easy, and then checks out the tattoos and no scars, and now he's starting to wonder what's up.
Yeah,
and
he's gonna go fix Cassidy some food,
some consomme,
some swamp consomme. Yeah, they love that swamp consomme down there.
I'm not serving at my next barbecue. I'm gonna serve swamp consomme, and everybody's gonna be like, "What's in it?" And I'm like, "I'm not telling."
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. It tastes like tomato soup.
It kind of looked like a can of spaghetti sauce.
Yeah, I would throw like tomato soup with some extra, paprika and a little kick of some red hot sauce. Who that?
Well, you got to put something chunky in there. I mean, you got to make it look chunky.
I can do salsa. I can do a little chunky tomato,
There you go.
a little hair.
That'll work.
There's squirrels out here. Little squirrel consomme. So yeah, so he's fixing him up. Meanwhile, Cassidy's just sucking blood up. He's got a backpack full of it, and I like that they did the John Woo shot of the inside of the bullet hole closing.
Yeah, the closing up. Yeah, Cassidy clearly is not thinking straight at this point. I mean, I don't know if it's the drugs that he was on, but you figure Cassidy'd probably want to avoid doing anything that might draw attention to the fact that he's a vampire. But as we've seen so far in the 3 episodes this season, he clearly doesn't give a shit about that. He walk out in the sunlight, nothing.
Yeah.
We don't care.
They could have left him tied on that tree and until the sun came up, he'd have been fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
The way the show's been going lately, yeah.
Yeah, so Jesse and Tulip have a little talk while they're in bed, and Tulip says she can go down there and she can kill Grandma right now, and Jesse will not have any of that.
No.
Why is he saving Grandma? I mean, if she killed Grandma, what's to be lost?
Well, the way it seemed after that first episode is like Grandma's fate is tied to Tulip's. Because Jesse even mentioned, like, what's to stop me from killing you right now? And she's like, well, try it and see what happens. So it's a possibility that Grandma did something during the ceremony that brought Tulip back that somehow kind of links them together. We don't know, but there it has been implied that there is, that harming her, would bring harm to Tulip.
All right, well then that would make more sense to me. I think that if he's trying to protect Tulip, then of course he's going to try to keep her alive.
And he also knows that she's got that blood pact with him, so that anything if she wanted to, she could hurt Jesse, real easily. The compact.
Yeah. So Jesse has to break up their morning schnog because Jody opens the door and he's ready to take him to church.
Yeah.
And now. All right, so before I found out why they were going to church, I was like, yeah, he's really going to church, man. That's so weird right now. Like, of all the things, you might want to stick around with Cassidy. But
especially with the way they've changed the characters. In the book, yeah, going to church would have been a big thing because that was the thing with the Langell family. They were really big. All the men were preachers. By going voodoo, they've gone away from that church idea. So the idea of, Jody taking Jesse to church seems really far-fetched for this storyline.
But they do explain it later, and it does kind of make sense as much as anything's making sense in this season right now.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of explanation that needs. I understand he's trying to get souls back into the building so that Miss Murdy can take them.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he's trying to pimp her up and fill it out.
Yeah, he's trying to make up for lost time, from when he was a kid and could easily, bring people to her for whatever they needed, and she could get souls from them out of it.
Spells of sobriety and money handling, and apparently a love spell.
And spells to make girls forget that predatory high school teachers had done anything to them.
Well, yeah, but he's gonna get his.
Oh yeah,
that guy don't stand a chance.
No.
So Jesse goes to check on Cassidy, and he's not really there to check on Cassidy. He does tell him that he's his best friend. And it's the first time ever I'm going to tell you he's your best friend. And that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. A touching moment between two men.
It was right before he stuck the pole in his bullet wound.
But he did that to try and save Cassidy's life.
I understand the premise of it. I appreciated there's been a setback.
Yeah.
But there needed to be a setback. And they did make a big deal of this whole "you're my best friend" thing, and with the relationship they've established in the show between these two characters, it felt weird.
It did, because we don't feel that friendship between these two. They're not, I don't see that they're that friendship between them. They're friends, sure, but best friends, no. If, we don't have, the scene of like Cassidy driving a truck into the Santa Killers to try and save Jesse, outside of a motel. We don't have that kind of stuff where you've seen that one of them is willing to die for the other one.
The bonding that we see in the comic is not in this show.
No. I mean, and that's a big thing. I mean, like I said, I've been trying to, this season especially, I've been really trying to not think of the comic book as I'm watching the show, because I know it's just going to make me upset.
You're right.
But,
I get you.
But yeah, I mean, there are certain things that just aren't in place that make some of the stuff they're doing not nearly as important. Like, the idea that Cassie's going to betray Jesse over Tulip, not as big of a deal, because that bond isn't there when they're best friends, when it's these two brothers and one stabs the other in the back. That's a much bigger betrayal than what we might get this season. It's not gonna mean nearly as much as it would if they were truly as close as they could be.
Yeah, I think the bonding issues that the comic book had that aren't in the show, they really do take away from from this relationship between these two guys, and it makes this scene so kind of out of place that, like, yeah, you're my best friend. Ow, I'm gonna stab you. Like, I get it, and he's stabbing him because he loves him. Like, he's doing it for his own good, and he's trying to tell him, get the hell out of here. This is not a good place for you. But he's not listening because he wants Tulip. But that relationship with Tulip and Jesse and Cassidy together hasn't been built up enough.
No. And see, I didn't really get the idea that Jesse was telling Cassidy to leave, but I think he was trying to tell him, look, if you're going to stick around, be careful, because these people aren't to be messed with. You've seen the pictures on the walls. You know what kind of shit they get into. Just because you're a vampire doesn't make you safe.
Right. And he needs to, well, he did actually tell him, you need to get out of here, take off. And he said, I'm not leaving without Tulip.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
yeah.
It's like not about Tulip right now. It's about you, and you need to get the fuck out of here. And, cover yourself, because he's putting himself at risk. He puts Jesse at risk. He puts Tulip at risk by being a vampire, because, vampires just happen.
And kind of going back to the whole thing with the relationships. I mean, so in the show, they're kind of setting up this triangle. You've got, Jesse and Tulip together. You've got Cassidy and, wanting to be with Tulip, and Tulip, definitely there is a connection between the two of them there. Whereas in the books, they were friends, but Cassidy was a much bigger fuck up in the books than he is in the show here. And his whole thing with Tulip was, like, it was completely one-sided. There was no, like, she never, like, even hinted at the fact that there might be something between the two of them. There was no accidental, like, they didn't hook up, so to see the way that relationship is, see them building up on the show here, that there is the potential for a Cassidy Tulip relationship, again, very, very different from what we're seeing, and it's going to play out very differently than what we'd see in the books.
And we talked about how when Tulip was reborn, she smiled so lovingly at Cassidy and not at Jesse.
Yeah.
And then when Cassidy gets shot, she physically says, "I love you, Cass."
Yeah.
But again, I wanted to be the comic book Tulip and Cassidy, but that's not what we're dealing with here.
No.
So he's going to go and procure this love potion. And that's going to put her in a place where she starts giving him the affection, but it's not real.
Yeah. And that may end up getting us to the point where we know from the books, where there's going to be, if the potion wears, if it's just discovered that she's under a potion, and if it gets taken, she gets removed from the spell, there's going to be that contempt between the two of them. Right. that could drive that wedge between that relationship.
And then that'll break them apart, because nobody wants to be something they're forced into, or not by their own free will, which is the big thing.
And I don't think we'll get the Because like I said, in the books, Cassidy fucked up a number of times, but Tulip, didn't tell Jesse about it because she knew how Jesse is, this bond, this brotherhood that the two of them had. She knew that telling Jesse about that would just break his heart because of, that good old boy, cowboy mentality that Jesse had, that idea of brothers, that would destroy him. We don't get that in the show. So, are we going to see her maybe not tell Jesse about something like this, or are we going to see the group break apart early because of something like this? I mean, the idea of what they can do and where they can go with this is very different because we don't have these bonds and these feelings between these characters that we had.
Do you think one of the things that we're missing that would cement Jesse for us is John Wayne?
I would love to see something like that, but the way the show's going, I don't know if it would make any difference. I mean, there's barely been any mention of John Wayne being a part of Jesse's childhood.
Right.
Especially like John Wayne was a big part of Jesse's childhood because of the tragedy that he experienced growing up. From what we've seen in the show, there wasn't much in the way of tragedy in his past. He seemed to embrace the Langell lifestyle, the recruiting people for his grandmother, for this stuff. So it doesn't seem like there was that tragic backstory for him that he needed this, this ghostly figure to kind of guide him on his way. So I don't know if it would really make any sense to have him in the show at this point.
Well, at this point, I'm saying, what if we had the John Wayne from the beginning? Because John Wayne was always more of Jesse's moral compass, far more than Jesse or Tulip were. John Wayne was like his conscience a little bit.
Well, I don't know. Again, because going back to early in the show, I don't think Jesse's moral compass was anywhere near as good as it could be. I mean, Jesse was a career criminal. He was a bank robber. So his moral compass was already slightly skewed. So John Wayne being there, I don't think would have made sense for the character that the show's building.
Right, that's fair. So
if we had the Jesse from the comic books, if we had that cowboy, that character who deep in his heart is a good person, then having John Wayne around would make sense.
Right, but we don't. You're right. We don't have that. So Tulip goes through the office. Not to interrupt the flow, but will you guys do an off-season Walking Dead podcast? Yeah, maybe.
We got somebody in the chat room.
Yeah. What I was saying was, Tulip goes through the bloody napkins, the what is it? Blood compacts.
The blood compacts, yeah.
That Miss Marie has, and there's quite a collection of them.
Yeah, she's got a whole cabinet full of those things. I mean, I think Tulip was figuring, I'll get the one, I'll get Jesse's. We can get out of here. We're good to go. But then she finds, stacks and stacks of napkins. I was like, oh, all right, maybe this isn't Jesse's. Yeah,
so Jesse is, you can't just grab one and maybe you're done. So that's not going to work out. Yeah. And then later we're going to find out TC tells an eloquent story of a lady and her husband who try to get theirs back.
Yeah.
And he pays for this 89-cent napkin, but, the debt is not paid. So when he rips the napkin, he rips his bride in half, and there you go.
See, now my question is had he not ripped the napkin in half, had he just walked out with it, would they have been okay?
Well, yeah, but then it would have been allowed to stay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get the idea behind the story to explain, the severity of, breaking one of these packs. But I think in that situation, it was the husband's fault for ripping it in half. Had he just taken it, stuffed it in his pocket, and walked out, things might have been okay. But no, he had to like show his balls and be like, haha, I got you. And that didn't work out for him.
Yeah, sadly. But we find out this is Preacher. The chat room doesn't even know what show we're doing a podcast on. They're interested in The Walking Dead, and they want our thoughts on Rick dying next season.
It's not Marcus, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. How's it going? Yeah.
Welcome back.
And hey, just to go on off a little tangent. If Rick dies, Rick dies. I don't give a shit. Joe can go on without Rick. At least he won't be putting his pickle in my Michonne anymore.
I know that's the big deal for you. Is that with him gone, Michonne's all yours.
She'd be free of Rick. She's gonna leave too. She's too big a star now. They're gonna lose everybody. That's what happens when your show gets huge.
Yeah,
your stars get bigger and they get better jobs and do movies and become Bruce Wayne's parents, and then, that's it. So Walking Dead's doomed. It'll be over in 2 years probably, and that'll be that. But
I don't know. I mean, if the new showrunner that's coming on can right the ship, I could see it going on for a bit longer. But the thing is they've got to do something about the storytelling. Yeah. They really do.
And if they get rid of Michonne too, well, then they may lose me. But whatever. I'll still watch. I love her. What can I do? All right, so let's get back to Preacher. I want to talk about Jesse going to the Huffers Anonymous meeting. An eloquent story of huffing glue. The most beautiful. Me and my son were building his World War II diorama, and then I huffed all the glue, and he woke up disappointed. Where's the damn glue, Dad? Dude, I was peeing myself. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, leave it up to the writers here to take a tragic, story. This is a real thing. Addiction is a serious thing, but leave it to them to take it and make it funny. I don't think it was intentionally meant to be funny, but
I do.
I was laughing at the end of it, but leave it up to people to turn like a tragic story into something that we could laugh at.
And I love that Jesse's like, oh yeah, I huffed everything, white out, dust off, doesn't matter, anything I could get,
whatever I could get in my lungs. Yeah,
I just love that the priest is a huffer.
Yeah,
there's a great Primus song about huffing. It's called Lacquerhead.
Nice.
You should enjoy the video on YouTube. It's fun.
Check it out.
Lacquerhead by Primus. If anybody knows Primus sucks, and we love Primus forever and ever. I have a Primus poster in a tube over there that I still haven't put up yet. I can't wait to get it. It's lovely. It's like a jackalope. It'll look good. All right, so at the Huffer thing, he's trying to convince people to go up to Angelville, and they're like, "Nah, we'll just go over to the Boyds and get it spells on the cheap."
Yeah, we're starting to get an idea of the relationship between the Langels and the Boyds and the contention between the two of them. We didn't really have much of that in the first two episodes, other than the fact that there's this family called the Boyds, and they don't like the Langels. They really have something against Jesse, apparently. So, again, we don't know what this is about, but we didn't know the extent of what. We had to realize that there was some voodoo because we knew Jesse went there to get some ingredient that Grandma needed to bring Tulip back. Right. Now we're getting an idea of the fact that in the absence of Jesse and Miss Marie's slow decline and Angelville kind of losing its tourist attraction status, that the Boyds have stepped up and are in a much better place than they were.
I think we're gonna get, if we can get one person in our chat, if we can get them to start watching Preacher, I think we've done our job.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, is to spread the word.
We should be getting paid.
Want that Hardwick money?
But obviously, I don't want the hassle.
Oh.
So, speaking of Hardwick, I saw that Yvette Nicole Brown got the gig at
got his Comic-Con gigs,
for the Walking Dead panel. And I have to say, as a total awesome lady that she is, she put out a tweet that said, "Look, I'm not going for my friend's job. He's out of commission at the moment, and I'm just filling in." And
Yeah.
that's what she
And
said.
it,
I'm
I
not
never
hanging for his
expected
job.
that.
No, and I
Yeah.
don't either. And I hope that if they can't, work something out with Hardwick to get him back for Talking Dead, at least maybe she's the one that'll carry on the mantle. And I think he'd be okay with that, even though I'm sure he's not okay with losing all of his business over this 3-year-old bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shitty situation. And like I said, I would never expect, I didn't think that Yvette Nicole Brown was taking this job to kind of rub it in his face, I don't watch Talking Dead, but I know that she's been on there enough times that, people know, that she's got an idea of what's going on. So she could easily handle, the duties of moderating a panel at Comic-Con. I've got every faith in that.
Yeah. I'm sure the panel will be absolutely fantastic. And as far as Talking Dead, maybe it'll be Jonah Ray. Who knows? There's other ways they can go.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, we're losing a lot of preacher by talking Walking Dead. One of these things is more entertaining than the other.
So there's one thing we glossed over really quick when Tulip was going through Miss Marie's bedroom, the telephone.
Oh yeah, the telephone. Who is this? Who the hell is this?
Yeah, there's a telephone. Looks like an old rotary phone without a rotor. It looks like
call anybody.
It's kind of like, it looks like it's kind of like the bat phone. You pick it up and it goes to one location. So it goes straight to the police chief. But
so we can assume that was Commissioner Gordon on the other end of the line then.
Oh, I know who was on the other end of the line now from the preview for next week.
Oh, could it be perhaps, I don't know, Satan?
Nice way to pull that one in.
Thank you very much. I mean, I didn't even have it in my arsenal, but there you go. The Dana Carvey. It might be Satan.
Well, from the preview for next week, I'm almost positive it is Satan because we see that phone on Satan's desk in the preview for next week. And I got to say, this Satan looks kind of like the Satan from the comic book.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It does kind of look like that. Can't remember the name of the artist that did the Santa Killers miniseries. But it looks kind of like that guy's, the way he drew him. So I'm kind of cool about that.
All right, I'm always down for that. That's very cool. I can't wait because let's by all means let's bring Satan in because he's got a friend down there with him, a little guy we know as the Santa Killers, and so we're excited to get him back because again, look, Graham McTavish, Ian Coletti, they're all in the credits. They haven't been in an episode yet. Not one.
And I'm kind of curious how they're going to explain away, this relationship between the devil and the Santa Killers because it's clearly very different because the devil should even be there at this point if the saint is around.
Right.
So I'm curious to how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I got no earthly clue on that one, really.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm sorry that we glossed over that. I'm looking at my screen and they're dealing with TC's dingle here.
And yeah, this whole scene kind of came out of nowhere. It's like
a little bit, All right, but I understand Tulip needed to get information out of TC, and TC is a pervert of epic proportion.
Well, not in the show,
but the likes of which they can't even show on this show.
And I mean, I haven't even gotten the idea that he's a pervert from the show so far.
He's made a few little comments here and there, but if you're a fan of the comic book, you know that TC is in what I can only call a non-consensual relationship with the chicken,
and anything else that will move,
fish. But the chicken. The chicken I found funny that later in the episode when Cassidy goes to feed on the chicken, it's TC that catches him, and I was like, oh man, that could have been horrible if that was like TC's girlfriend chicken.
Yeah.
Not that anyone should have a girlfriend chicken. And I don't even wish that on you. I mean, I know having a girl is tough, but having a girlfriend chicken, I don't even wish that on you. The only things
that should be having a girlfriend chicken are boy chickens, are roosters. That's it.
a gamecock, if you will.
Yes.
I am in South Carolina after all. Go Cox! It's a horrible place to live sometimes. All right, so TC wants Tulip to look at his deal. So she plays along and she's like, yeah, I'll look at your deal. And as she looks at it and she's like, it's a fine little dingo you got there. And then she tries to get a little more information, like on how to break the spell. And TC's not having none of that. Says, no, I'm not going to. Don't fuck with her. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. And
she uses a small stuffed alligator to solicit her information. I don't even. She grabbed the deal with it, and that's not good.
No, the thought of that just kind of pains me a little bit.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean that's a big deal. You know, messing with the man's manhood, it's not something you do lightly.
No, you don't leave an alligator hanging on the dingle. You don't.
No.
You just don't do it.
No.
And he doesn't have the information she wants. He says you can grab it all you want. It's not going to change the facts. And the facts are Jesse's fucked.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
that debt is not done until Miss Mulray says it's done.
Yeah. And, we have no idea. I mean, we know what it is that she wants, but, we don't know the scale of what she wants. I mean, she wants her business back. She wants Jesse to stay. She wants Jesse to do what he was doing for her before, bringing people in and, recruiting souls for her.
Right.
But,
her and Cassidy
when is enough?
Conversation. Yeah. And he asked why she's still in a wheelchair and shitting in a bag. And, why haven't you healed yourself? And she said, I'm working on it. So what Jesse's doing has to be part of getting her back into a healthy frame of mind. Like maybe the more souls she takes in, the more healthy she's going to get, kind of thing.
Well, it's
about the best I can get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is I think we kind of saw a little bit of it last season about like the healing property of souls. Using the soul to heal other people. And, we saw like some of the flashback stuff from like episode or so ago where we see, them drawing souls out of people. And, I think you kind of even alluded to the fact that she uses it to stay young because she's kind of looked that way forever.
Right.
For at least for a long time. So yeah, I mean, she's probably a lot older than we would even imagine that she could be. She looks like she's probably right now, she probably looks like she's in her 60s or so, but she's probably closer to 100 if I had to guess at this point, the way the voodoo thing is going.
Yeah, I would put her up there quite a bit. I mean, because Jesse's aged, 20 years. So
yeah,
she looked just the same. So
yeah.
There you go. It's the scene with the girl ripping in half. So good.
All right. That was a kind of weird scene. Just seeing her laying there in half.
Whatever. So
the fact that she was still alive after being ripped in half like that was kind of weird.
The last 10 minutes of this episode were pretty meaty, actually.
Yeah.
They covered a lot. They get a lot of stuff in. Cassie goes and gets a love potion, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
We get Tulip going to see Madame Boyd. Madame Boyd.
Yeah, that's coming. I got to get through this scene. Hold on. I'm done with TC and Tulip. Let's move on. What's next? Oh, alligator. Horrible. All right, so the next scene is the conversation with Cassidy and Miss Murray, and where he wants his love potion and asks her about shitting in a bag and all that.
Like you do.
So, I mean, I do think that he's doing what he's doing has to do with getting her better, I think. And I don't know that she's ever going to let him go and say that the debt is paid in full until he has the power of Genesis to compel her to do so.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a kind of thing that she would, she'd hold this over him forever. And she could with that compact, she could easily hold that over him forever. And it's Jesse's own fault because Jesse offered to do anything to get Tulip back.
Right.
He didn't say, I will get you 5 people, I will get you 10 people. He said anything. And, when you're crazy like that, anything could be a lot of stuff.
It absolutely can. So I liked it. Tulip, before she went to go see Boyd, she had a little bit of a should I or shouldn't I with her gun in the car. She put it in the glove compartment. She took it out of the glove compartment. She took it back.
Yeah, she left her phone.
She left her phone, right? And then Cassidy gets his little love potion, and Jesse goes in and talks to Miss Marie, and she's like, "I'm never letting you go. Just deal with it. You're gonna have to be here forever."
Yeah. And he tells her that he's out of practice and he can't, quite recruit the way he used to. And she recommends him going down to the tombs, which is something he clearly does not want to do.
No, I think she says not the tombs. The tombs don't come up until, here you go. Cassidy gets the chicken and then gets caught by TC and Jody string him up on a tree. And Jesse's like, no, I have a different idea. Now,
well, I thought, because I thought it was Jesse that was opposed to the tombs. I thought Miss Marie had mentioned the tombs, and he was dead set against that. So the idea of him doing this was a chance to keep Cassidy from getting strung up in the sunlight. He figured, knowing what he knows of the tombs, Cassidy would have a much better chance there than being set out in the sunlight, and Jesse could eventually save him from the tombs.
Right, and it looks like the tombs is just your average, ordinary, underground huffing fight club.
Voodoo fight club, yeah.
Huffing voodoo fight club. Where Jesse dresses a lot like the guy from Blood Drive. And
he gets that rickety old top hat, and he looks kind of like a circus, ringmaster.
Like a ringmaster, and I guess that's what the tombs are about. So you're gonna pit Cassidy the vampire versus the pedophile science teacher.
And what Cassidy was given like a mace, and the science teacher was given an electric carver,
a chainsaw.
Was it a chainsaw? Okay,
yeah, it was a chainsaw. So he gets a chainsaw versus a mace, and that's fair because healing factor being soul. Wolverine is the funk soul brother of all. Like he is more soul than Don Cornelius.
That's right.
For those of you kids out there, Don Cornelius was on a show called Soul Train.
Soul Train, yeah.
Speaking of Soul Train, have you watched I'm Dying Up Here? Have you heard of that?
I have not. No, I know of the show, but I haven't seen it.
Oh man, it's so fucking depressing, but it's so good. It's very dark, and it has a very it's a very rough ending to the second season because it just kind of stops abruptly, and you're like, oh shit. Like, yeah, it was the thing of the most shocking possible. I don't want to ruin it for you. Watch the show; it's a really good show.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, that's I give that one my highest recommendation.
All right. So next week, apparently the episode is called The Tombs. So we're gonna be in the basement huffing voodoo fight club a little more next week. Looks like we get a little bit of Santa Killers. We get a little bit of Satan.
Little Santa Killers. That, my friends, is a good swamp consomme. That's the tits. We want all that. So yeah, so it's looking up. Maybe there's some redemption in this. I like I said, I don't know how long the show is gonna last. And
before we I did like the fight scene with Tulip at Madame Boyd's place. I love my favorite scene in the whole fight, like when she jumps out the window and like two guys catch her and throw her right back in.
I thought that was really good. Like, oh, she's out. Oh, back.
Nope, she's back in. I like that. They pull me back in.
There's obviously something to Madame Boyd. She's obviously a corpse, and
I love the fact that they're modern. Like she's like, is this gonna be card, Apple Pay? They've got this, and if there's like the box there, put the soul in, said Bank of the Bayou. So there's clearly some kind of soul collection system, or storage system they got going on out there.
They have a magic 8-ball on their table.
Did they?
Yeah, I just saw it. So I wasn't surprised that the old lady was a corpse. That's not shocking.
No,
because in a show like this, there's bound to be a corpse sitting in a chair somewhere.
of course there is.
Yeah, it's Norman Bates. We get what you're shouting out.
Yeah,
and it's all there. And I love how they showed they divulged her being a mummy was the toss through the window as she gets tossed back in and knocks everything asunder.
yeah,
and that's how it happens. So I thought it was more organic than her just like pulling off her mask and being like, "Oh my god, you damn kids!" And I would have got away with it. So all right, this is cool. So now we have at least I don't want to say an antagonist, but for the lack of a better in this, Madame Boyd is going to be the bad guy, or possible good guy, or
I don't necessarily see Boyd as the bad guy. I mean, clearly they don't like Jesse and they don't like the Langell family. I get that, but I mean, if anything, the bad guy is going to be Grandma this season, and Madame Boyd could be somebody that helps them, to try and take out Grandma. So we could see them. We could see some kind of an alliance between Jesse, Tulip, and Madame Boyd. We could see them just take them out entirely. We don't know. I mean,
I think
we don't know enough about them yet.
I think the Boyds are just going to end up being cannon fodder here. Like I said, I don't think that the Langells are going out without the voice. Because
no, of course not.
Jody can lift a fucking car because he's such a superhero. And she's living forever with the Lazarus pit in her bedroom. So
yeah,
I don't know what TC's magic power is, but everybody seems to have one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see some something with the Boyds because they have Tulip now, so there's going to be some kind of parlay between them and Jesse because they're going to obviously want something. So Jesse's probably going to have to end up doing something for them now.
They're going to put that woman in the tomb.
Yeah.
Let her fight. Does Cassidy become champion if he wins? Like,
maybe.
I want to know because he could reign supreme in there and they could make some money.
Maybe he's going to be like Russell Crowe in Gladiator.
Yeah.
Get him a mask.
Awesome. He can win his freedom.
There you go.
Are you not entertained? All right. So, yeah, that's all speculation. We'll see what happens next week. But I think next week's going to be an action-packed little doozy. So that should be fun.
Hope so. I mean, we get some interesting ideas for what's happening next episode. So, they're definitely the idea of bringing Satan into the show is an interesting one that I wasn't expecting to see. But I'm really, really curious what they're going to do with it with the big red guy.
All right, let me tell you that the next episode is called The Tombs, which
okay,
you know what that
fair
is.
Enough.
The episode after that is called The Coffin, which you and I know what that is.
Yeah.
Les Enfants du Sang.
Les Enfants du Sang.
That's episode 6. Then episode 7 is Hitler. Episode 8 is The Tom Brady.
The Tom Brady.
Uh-huh.
That sounds like a sex act.
Yeah, Schwarzkopf number 9 and The Light Above is the final episode of the season.
There's only 10 episodes this season?
There are only 10 listed right now for me.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought it was 13 or 16 they were doing this season. Maybe they just haven't announced the final ones.
We only had 13 last season, so I wouldn't imagine more than that.
Well, let me look up something really quick.
Nah. We're trying to get information. This is actually like podcasting thing.
According to IMDb, there's 13 episodes listed this season, but they only have up to 10.
All right, so.
Oh, and as far as episode 8, it's the Tom Brady. It's the Tom/Brady.
Yeah.
Which
Tom/Brady.
Not like Tom Brady.
I mean, Tom and Brady. I don't know. I don't know either one of them at this point.
No, neither do I.
And there you go. So, to answer the question in chat, no, we're not going to do an outside of the box Walking Dead podcast. No. we'll wait till it starts again, and then we'll do one. That's fine. If it ends with Rick, it ends. Whatever. I don't.
It'll go.
I'm not in Walking Dead season right now. Can't do
it. The show will go on without Rick. It will.
Yeah, it totally can. It might not be the same, but it can go on. Sure. Negan and Daryl. The Negan and Daryl show. Just bring over Art Space and Hitler and let them start running.
Hitler and the Apocalypse. Yeah, there you go.
Hitler and Eugene running the whole business of Alexandria. I love it. It's a crossover. All right, we're going to get out of here. It's late over here out on the East Coast. I'm tired. So thanks, everybody, for joining in and watching. If you haven't watched before, well, here we are. You can like us on the Facebook and the tweets, and you can subscribe if you're here. And if you watch till the end of this, wow, we're shocked. You got anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
I think this podcast is going to morph back into the Monkey Caviar podcast, where we kind of just like talk about shit.
Fair enough.
So it won't be necessarily. I think we'll find a way to keep going after this season's over, so we can. I mean, what the fuck? We're not doing anything on Monday nights at 11 o'clock anyway.
This is true.
I mean, I realize it's 8 o'clock for you, but it's Monday.
Yeah, seriously.
And the Kings aren't playing right now, so
that's true.
All right. Until next time, folks. Love, many, and trust you, and do harm to no one. Peace.